Today we're doing an unboxing and a test run on Roadrunner's flagship model of the RS5 line. This is the RS5 Max. Today we're unboxing an RS5 Max from Roadrunner. We just got this in, we're super stoked about it, and there's been a lot of hype about this scooter for a long time, and we really want to see how it compares to other scooters in its same class. So let's dig in and find out exactly what this thing is made of. I mean, considering these are heavy, man, this box weighs 107 pounds. This thing, surprisingly enough, has come through the whole shipping process remarkably well. So it looks like these are really heavy. I don't know if you can see this, but super heavy duty cardboard boxes. I mean, this thing is incredibly beefy. So the first thing we got on the top is the Roadrunner manual. I'd love to see companies actually put complete manuals in here. This is, 20, 25 pages as opposed to like a 2-page pamphlet where you got to dig up the P settings and all that kind of stuff. There's warranty info in here, operating stuff. There's QR codes if you want to go direct to the website. We'll get this down. This is super thick cardboard here. We got a really nice Allen wrench set, which is nice, and it's fairly compact, so you're not bringing the super long ones that come with a lot of scooters. Got a power cable for the charger. This looks to be the charger assembly here. All the RS5 series scooters come with a 2-amp charger, but you can get a fast charger on their site that's sold separately as well from Roadrunner. The first thing that looks like it's packaged up here is the handlebar assembly. And on first inspection, that looks like it's made the trip fairly well. One of the really nice surprises here is these locking handlebars. This is nice. Of course, the nut hydraulic brakes on this thing. Everything looks like it's packaged really well. The stem looks to be really nice as well. So we'll pull some of these guys out. Let's see what we got here as far as pieces. Let's see if we can grab that and kind of keep it from dangling up on everything. Well, the first thing you really notice about this is just the build quality itself. Really, really nice styling. I didn't go for the blue and black. I really wanted something, a bit more kind of subtle and design oriented. And the Onyx gray and black is really, really nicely styled. So I'm glad we kind of made that decision. That looks great. Let's pull the rest of these out. And we got our fenders here, front and rear, individually packaged, which is nice. That means they don't get slammed into things if the scooter gets bumped during transport, which is great. One of the first things I noticed about this is actually the kickstand. It's got a really, really beefy kickstand. And I don't remember if the RS5 and the Pro had the same style, but yeah, this is really stout. Styling is nice, and really on the gray and black one, especially just the rubber mat on the top here, they did just a great job. Yeah, really, really nice. And the Kickplate, I think maybe is one of my favorite changes from the Pro to the Max, from the original Pro to the updated Pro and Max, is instead of just having all the rivets and everything exposed here, they've got this really, really nice, like rubberized Kickplate. That's going to be great to stand on. It's got an incorporated tail light here and a handle as well. And this is a big deal. Most people don't realize this, but having a handle with a hole in it is a huge thing because it means you can put a lock through it. And a scooter this big, you definitely want to, lock up. And if you do it up through here, you're just going to mar up the entire finish of this. And it's really a beautiful finish. And this here, both as places where you can put a big U-channel lock through and be able to lock the scooter up securely. That's a super big part of that. They've done a really, really nice job incorporating the reflectors into the swing arms here, front and back. They've got some really nice rubberized nut covers here as well. One of the other differences from the Max versions to the Pro and regular versions of the RS5 is that the tires themselves are 85 by 65 by 6.5. Which means that rim size here is not just a 6-inch rim like you find on most other scooters. This is a 6.5-inch rim. That may not seem like such a big deal, But it turns out it really is, because that opens up the world of PMT tires. Now, PMT tires, for those of you that aren't familiar, are some of the best tires you can get for any scooters, period. They make famous road tires that have an insane amount of grip and are full rubber, and these have that same rim size. So PMT tires have a 6.5-inch rim size. The dual swing arm suspension is hydraulic, and it can be tightened or loosened with a spanner wrench here. But in its current position, it's pretty snug already, and I think it's probably going to be just about perfect. There is no damping adjustment, but just about where it sits, it's pretty nice for the average rider. And of course, the nut hydraulic brakes, these are a welcome addition as well. Very, very secure, and that's a great brand with a reputation. Same story with the rear hydraulic brakes. There's adjustability with a spanner wrench here on the bottom. And these are already pretty snug, and we've got the nut hydraulic rear brakes here. And in their default position, they're already pretty snug. So you might even have to loosen them up a little bit. I'm an average weight rider at 175, and they're pretty firm for me. So maybe heavier riders, this might be just about perfect for you. The top of the stem has a little rubber cover, and it just pops up to expose the key area here. It's an odd little shape though, because it doesn't quite fit in the hole. It just sort of is meant to like kind of push over it, and I think this is just sort of a glorified cover for the key to keep kind of rain from coming out. But thankfully they're using a standard bike stem size. This is a huge advantage just because it opens up the world of customization. So in this particular case, we're going to go ahead and pull the display off just to make this a little easier to set the handlebars themselves. And from here we can just size up the handlebar position exactly the way we want it. We don't have to, you know, mess with the position of the display. And this way we can pull the bars back to where we need them, about for our comfort zone here. Make sure the throttle and everything is in the ballpark. And that's a much easier way to size these guys back up. This is a great way to kind of set your overall height and stuff so that it's close to what you're going to be riding with. Let's grab the bottom section now. So we just flip the display out of the way, and then we can finish up with the bottom ones. And because the bottom and the top nuts themselves kind of rock back and forth, they don't seat exactly. There's a bit of play. Once you get the bottom nuts in, snug them up a bit, and then loosen the top ones to allow for a little bit of play. This will allow the handlebars themselves to sit squarely. Once we get the handlebars completely assembled here, we can go back and we can put our display back in. And this gives us a chance to set the display at the angle that we want and make sure that it's not obstructing any of the other components as well here, because there's a bunch. So once the handlebars are attached and the display is reattached, we've got the display really kind of as a triangle directly above the nut itself of the handlebar stem. And that gives us the most amount of play, because that allows us to set the angle of the display anywhere we want and still have room for the key here. So that's important. You don't want the key to be obstructed by the display, but you also don't want to damage the display either. It's a big bright display that's easy to see in dim light or in sunlight, and because you can set this so that you can adjust it, you can set it up for really any reflection angle. It's nice. You can select your dual motor and your single motor from here. It displays both the battery voltage and in bars here, and it flashes back and forth between the trip and the overall odometer as well, shows your miles per hour. And then your mode switch is selected by hitting the power button, and that selects mode 1, mode 2, and mode 3. It's a simple display, but it's all the information you need. This is my first scooter with a thumb throttle, and this actually appears to be a pretty nice and beefy one. I've seen them on other scooters before. I've rode some Cabo scooters that had thumb throttles, and some less expensive scooters where the thumb throttle was really loose and kind of janky and cheap feeling. This is not. This actually feels quite good. The button cluster on this side is much nicer. It's really nicely positioned where your hand is going to fall naturally anyway. So you've got, you know, access to the brake here. It's a comfortable riding position. And then you've got, you know, your power, your motor switches, You've got your signals and your horn and lights, all where your thumb can easily reach it. The grips here are also a nice surprise. This is one of the things I thought I was going to have to change out almost immediately, and Roadrunner's actually chosen some decent locking grips. And the other thing that's nice as well is this little angled area here. I didn't really, when I first got my first scooters, I just had regular cylindrical grips, and I didn't really see the value in that until I actually replaced them. I bought some upgraded grips that had this little, kind of angle where your palm sits here. And that is such a joy to ride with because you have so much more control. And the headlight assembly comes cellophane wrapped here to the stem itself. It's a pretty simple but secure way of making sure that it gets here in one piece. The focus beam headlight and the horn assembly are all in one unit here, and I like the fact that they've moved it up from the bottom here. It used to be, kind of almost obscuring the label here, and now it's up above the actual joint and the stem. And you got a couple different mounting options because of the bracket here, but it's pretty straightforward. You can pretty much set it and forget it, and then we'll set this up for nighttime. But it's a much better quality light than it looks too. This is actually one whole heat sink. So the entire thing is an extruded aluminum heat sink. Roadrunner's also done a great job in the side lighting itself. The running lights themselves are exceptionally bright even during the daytime, and we have some ambient light here under the Roadrunner logo and the back one, in addition to the tail light as well. So lots of ambient lighting for people to see you while you're riding. And then when the turn signals are on, you get blinking indicators of which side you're actually going to be turning. Same story here on the back of the scooter. When you press either one of the brake levers, you get a blinking brake light. So that's differentiating between just the standard running light. And the blinkers on the left and right sides actually blink front and back in addition to the side lighting. The overall pattern for the headlight is a nice balance of brightness, and it's surprisingly bright for a scooter headlight. Quite a bit brighter than any of the other stock scooter headlights that I've seen. But they've done a nice thing where the bottom of the lamp goes all the way down to the front of the scooter, and the top is actually cut off at the horizon. And this is a really nice balance of light where you need it. You're not blinding the drivers coming into, your direction, but you've got all the light where you need it the most. And then that combined with the scooter's lighting, the overall lighting package is really, really nicely done. Out here in the pitch black, you got a really nice visible lighting package that everybody can see clearly, with the running lights on the side, the running lights in the back, the side lights, and the really nice attention to detail with the Roadrunner light. Did a nice job on that. That's a really nice looking trim package there. And then you also have two running lights in the front in addition to the headlight, which really help illuminate right in front of the scooter. This is super helpful to see what you're running into. In addition to a great lighting package, it also has one of the loudest scooter horns I've actually heard. Moving on down to the stem locking mechanism, they've done a really nice job on this. We've got an upgraded heavy-duty bolt here and also a locking pin. And this is really important. This just simply means that for whatever reason this comes loose while you're riding or whatever, the pin keeps the stem itself from collapsing. So you literally have to undo the safety catch of the pin itself before the stem will even fold after this actually comes down. Once it's down, you can fold the bars all the way down, and the latch part here simply fits through the latch hole and then secures under the bottom of the deck. And that gives you a really nice firm way to lift the scooter where you don't have to worry about the swing arm itself. A lot of scooters fold down to this location, but then this is all over the place and you're really stuck with kind of an unwieldy animal, especially if you're trying to get in and out of a car. That's a pretty big pain in the butt. So this is nice that you can actually just stick it right underneath there. And now you have a really firm and easy way to transport the scooter, especially if you're trying to get it out of a trunk or into a car, that kind of stuff. And one of the final design features that I really love about this scooter style, at least scooters that use this style frame, is the removable battery. Now, other manufacturers like Kukurin G3 Pro and the Awesome Gallop use the same design, but they use a little older version of it. The newer one from Roadrunner actually has gone with a keyed entry now, which makes a lot more sense. The original design that they had that had the little combination lock thing stuck up about an inch above the deck, so you were always hitting your foot on it. And the other thing too is you could grab a hold of it and you could literally just brute force open it. I mean, it's, you know, it's just pop metal. And it was super easy to do. This new keyed entry is so much more practical. It's flush with the deck, so you can put your foot there if you need to, and it's nearly impossible to grab this and kind of brute force your way into it. So the keyed entry is just faster and more realistic way to get into the battery component. It just pops open. You got the battery right here. This is the Max version, so it's got this big 32 amp hour battery, and we're really looking forward to that, not just for torque and for speed, but for much needed range. And this design is just such a great design, and I wish all scooters really used it. It's so elegant and so easy. You just pop the connector off and pull the thing out. You can bring the battery in, you know, for the winter and charge it indoors, and that's great for the health of the battery. You can keep the scooter in, you know, a garage or a shed or something and not have to worry about where it is. And in addition, if you want to, you can buy another battery and pop it in your backpack for even extended range. So all this left is to put the fenders on. We'll start with the back one first. These are stout little guys. I'm glad they're reinforcing and beefing these guys up a little bit. That's good to see on a scooter like this, and it speaks to a lot of the durability of it over time. And we'll repeat the same process for the front fender as well. And it really helps when you reassemble these to use a little bit of Loctite thread locker, the blue formula, not the red one. I know it's confusing because this comes in a red tube, but it's actually the blue formula here. Competition stiff in the $2,000 scooter market. And I think that's what really sets Roadrunner apart, is they're really trying to do something different.
One of the things that surprised me the most when I first unboxed the scooter was actually the color of it. On the website, it actually looks like kind of a dull metal gray, and there wasn't a lot of contrast between that and all the black trim. However, when you get it out in the sunlight, it's really, really different. It's a much lighter gray, and the swing arms and the attached accessory hardware, like the swing arms here in the front and the back, have an anodized sort of finish to them. So they look like anodized aluminum and have a much cooler looking finish in person than they really do on the website. Overall, I think this is really one of the nicest trim packages they offer.
All right, so we've swapped out our P settings and we've dialed back the start a little bit. It was pretty torquey up there at 5, and we've got it down to about 3 now, and yeah, way more manageable. I mean, it still gets its ass right up there with no trouble whatsoever. We put it back in dual mode and we're in single gear. Let's take it up to 2, and even from, you know, pretty much a dead start. Whoa. And right there, without any trouble at all, 35 miles an hour. So, you know, really there's enough torque. I mean, it's got torque for days. That's the one advantage of this huge battery. It's just, you know, you just got power to spare. There's just mountains of power. And of course, the true testament to any professional scooter is, can you strap a 6-pack to it without any other accessories or backpack? And of course the answer is, hell yeah, you can. And there we are, 40 miles an hour going uphill. Man, this thing is just not breaking a sweat. Just not breaking a sweat. Yeah, this thing just absolutely no effort at all